we have Sebastian High and Blue Chip Prospect, and they are both huge Habs fans, and it really does suck because obviously they stole Demidov from the Blackhawks, but like that's for a different story. So
It
they
was
have
given to
seven
us.
picks. Yeah, it was. I don't know what our. I don't want to talk about this. My therapist is like, you can't talk more Demidov. But in my honest opinion, like the Habs are going to make some splashes at the draft. They have 7 picks in the first 82, I believe, and that's just so many picks, especially in this class. I just want your thoughts basically on who do you guys think they're going to take 16, 17, maybe some second and third round targets that you guys have, and where do you guys see the Habs being a team in the next 3 to 5 years? Are they going to be a perennial contender, and is there a dynasty of brewing based on how many young players you guys got?
You want to start or I start?
Ethan?
Okay,
You
I
go
can
for it.
start. First thing first, I'm not sure if they're gonna pick with both first round pick. I mean, I think everybody kind of expected them not to pick with both picks in the first round, but now the closer we get to the draft, the more it looks like they will probably do it. But I don't have any information on that. If they do, I think it would be wise to go for upside on both picks, since it's basically what the Habs need. I think that the pipeline has a lot of depth. It's not necessarily what they need. They already have players like Oliver Kapanen or Owen Beck and Florian Jackai and all the players that you need to fill your bottom 6 at some point. But we might need help on the top 6 at some point too. So I think if there's players that fall player that falls to number 16 like Carbonneau or Lakovic or Carter Bear because of the injury or something like that, I would jump on that occasion, like no questions asked. It would be the best case scenario. And after that, if they can go with a player like maybe a Logan Hensler, who could be a number 4 defenseman in the NHL in the future because he does have the wheels for it. There's some polishing to do there, obviously, but I think he has a chance to get there. And it's actually maybe a need. Like we already have Ryan Backer, we already have Mayu. Is Mayu an NHL player on a every night basis? I'm not sure about that. We're gonna have to see. He's the type of guy that might not play in the NHL, or he's going to play for a long time. He has upside if he puts it all together. The question is, will he put it all together? And we're getting a little bit late in the development, so he might never put it all together. But Logan Hensler would be like some kind of insurance piece on the right side of the defense. So I think I would like it. But if there's like 2 wingers, like let's say Lakovic and Carbonneau both fall, I take both. And I don't care about Hensler at that point. But
Yeah, I think like I have a pretty similar overall idea of what the Habs might want to do on draft day in terms of targeting those high upside wingers that could really add to the top 6 in the future. The Habs are envisioning like a guy like Michael Hage should like take that step in a couple years as well. And if you pair Hage with Ivan Demidov, and then you have like one more slot open there in the top 6, I think one of those guys could be a really nice fit. Whether it is your Carbonneau or even a Carter Bear, who's a player I adore, and Victor Eklund might also still fall to this range. Like we're hearing rumblings around the NHL that he might go later than the public has him. So if any of those guys are available, I think they like each have like very different reasons to make a lot of sense for the Habs. But I think where I might disagree slightly is I think the Habs would really like to shore up that right D spot, because that is probably the only other glaring hole in terms of what the pipeline and the overall organization has to offer is that down the right side. You already have Ryan Bucker for one of those slots. You have Mayu as a big question mark, and you want one more guy that could project as a top 4 piece on a contending lineup. And I think Logan Hensler's a brilliant option for that kind of spot. I've liked him more and more the more I've been watching. Also in like postseason tape, going back and digging into him. Like I'm going to be writing an article on him over at Elite Prospects that might be getting published a little bit later with our scheduling thing with the articles at EP, but it's in the works, and it was a reminder to me of just how mobile he is, how physical he is, and the amount of runway there is as well for his on-puck game, and he took some really big strides over the course of the season. The first half tape was so tough to watch with Hensler.
Yeah.
By the end of the season, he was trying to dangle through defenses, doing it quite well, and timing his passes as well in terms of not holding on to the puck for too long. So I think he'd be a great fit in Montreal. But yeah, I think those are probably the main options that we're talking about with the Habs in the first round.
It's true that he got a lot better in the second half of the season. I actually went back watching games and clips of him. I think it's last week, and I haven't watched for a little while, and I was impressed. Like I knew the skating was good already, but I was impressed by how good it is and how deceptive he can be with his skating too. Whether it's on retrievals, whether it's when attacking, whether it's in transition, like he knows how to use his feet to make defenders miss and move the puck. I think he's a very intelligent player. Probably the season didn't go as well as we expected it to be, but overall, I think he catched up on the second half. And yeah, you're absolutely right that it would be a great ad for the Avs, not only for the need, but also because I think he deserves to go in that spot too.
Yeah, for sure. But in terms of like second round candidates, are there any ones that like stand out to you, Etienne, that could make like a lot of sense for the Habs?
A lot of sense for the Habs. I'm a believer that in the second round, I would draft for mostly need, because I think there's like a giant kind of tier going from the late first round to very far into the second round. All players are pretty close to me in terms of value. So at that point, like the Habs have not the best center depth, I would say. So if you can add some centers in there, if you can add some size or some right shot defensemen, I would keep doing that. Obviously, if a player, like every year there's players that falls, like the small productive player like Basha last year or the Nikita Artamonov last year, like they all fell into the 40s and 50s. So if there's a Colin Potter or a Cole Rezhny, a Kindle that fall all the way there, then I think you take that chance. But if there's a player like Nestrazil available, even though it's not a center, but he feels a need in terms of size. Like they need to add size into that lineup, and I think he brings that a lot. It's like 6'5", 6'6", something like that. So yeah, I mean, I don't have specific players, but I would add players with size mostly, unless one of those dynamic small players fall, and maybe try to add a center or a right shot defenseman.
Like, I think a couple players that would make sense in those molds then would be at right shot defense. I'd be looking at a guy like David Bedkowski, who's just like a refrigerator of a player, right?
Yeah.
Like, so big, so physical. Could be a great fit on that bottom pairing, especially if Mailloux doesn't pan out. Then you have the guy to play that role, and could be a great compliment to any one of like Adam Engstrom or Arbor Jacki or Jaden Struble. The list goes on of left shot defensemen in the organization. But I think in terms of centermen, Hayden Papanikis could make sense, but he is a right shot, and the Habs have loads of right shots. The Habs aren't going to do this because of just how much they value character above all else, but a really funny option would be in the third round or fourth round to pick up the faller, the Ivan Ryabkin, in terms of that violent left shot, bottom six playmaking center. But the Habs value interviews a lot, and from everything we've heard from the Combine, the interview process was not golden for Ivan Ryabkin.
Oh, no, it wasn't? Okay.
No, anything.
Because I like him in that range. I don't like him in the first. I don't know if he's going to go in the first. I would be surprised a little bit, but in the range of, like, let's say late second or like early third or something like that, I think he's perfect in that range because he's violent. He does have some skills. He's a good shooter. He can identify space on the ice. So he has some of the talent you're looking for an NHL player, but he also have that thick body and hits everything that he sees. So I would love it too. So, but I wouldn't love it like with 17 or 16s. Like, no.
Yeah, like one more name I wanted to bring up because I think he's like an extremely Habs type of pick is William Moore, because he has a decent amount of size to him. He's like 6'2", 6'2.5", but just so lanky. The Habs love drafting their lanky guys that still have to fill out their frames because they can project that they're going to be quite a few regular improvements in how they withstand pressure and all that, and kind of like a Michael H. Light selection. If you can get that in the second round, that can make a lot of sense for the Habs. He brings that goal scoring and the playmaking and the overall intelligence that I think they value a lot too.
And I think he's got like better and better as the season went on to use his body in puck protection, even physically. Like if at the U18s, I saw him a couple of times like destroyed people, and I was like, "You do that, okay?" But I think he would be a great option. Personally, I have him in my first round. I know a lot of people kick them out of their first round, but me, I like him. Like not a lot, but if he's there in the second round, let's say at 41 or something like that, that's a type of player that I would jump on the occasion to draft for sure.
Yeah. What do you guys think of like? William Moore is very skinny and lengthy. I was very surprised seeing him at the combine because he actually was a lot smaller than I thought. He can put on a lot of muscle. But what do you guys think of a guy like Cole McKinney or Will Horkoff being a center for your team? And also, blue chip prospect, I think his entire right-handed defense that he drafted, I think could be Habs targets in first round, second, or even third round. So it was kind of funny you were drafting 4 Habs needs at that right defense shot.
Yeah. Well, I'm so used to like look at things from a Habs point of view that sometimes I just unintentionally draft things in the way from the Habs point of view. So.
But as for the centers there that you brought up, I think like Cole McKinney as a player archetype, fantastic fit for a bottom 6 from Montreal, but he's a right shot center, and the Habs have only right shot centers in their system basically right now. I think that might be something that makes them look a different direction, but Horkoff is a left shot. Played a decent amount on the wing this season as well. I don't think he's going to be available by the time the 41st pick comes around. He's been getting quite a bit of late first round attention, but that could be a player that the Habs target either trading up or trading down. I think he could make quite a lot of sense for the Habs as well if they really like him. But I think he's probably no longer available there at 41. But beyond that, I think like Jack Nesbitt's a name, right? But another guy that's probably not there in the second round anymore. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of the Habs do, because the whole mold of big like centers that could maybe project as a 3C down the road, those guys aren't really, like, there might be like 1 or 2 left on the board if you're lucky at 41st overall from that tier in the late first, early second.
Is there like a sleeper that you guys have that you think fits like a glove for the Habs, or your favorite prospect in the entire draft that you would love to watch on your favorite team?
I'll let you start with that one. Yeah. I have no clue.
I think for sleeper fits, a fun one for the Habs would be Sean Barnhill. They need size down the right side. He skates wonderfully well, and he's still learning how to use his physicality. So I think he's kind of like, if you're looking at it through the Habs lens of we're looking for players that aren't at their physical potential yet, here's a 6'6" defenseman who skates really well, who has the range and has the strength. He's like 205, 210 pounds. He's able to shut things down, just the habits aren't quite there yet. If you project that being added to his game in the coming years, and with decent puck moving from the back, I think he could be a really interesting target there in the second and third round for the Montreal Canadiens. But in terms of players I would just love to see in Montreal, I think I'd have to say Riker Lee. I think I'd love to see Riker Lee in a Habs uniform. I think he and Václav Nestory, I mean, my 2 favorite USHLers this year, so I'm biased on that front, but I think both of them would fit different needs in the Habs system, where Riker Lee brings a level of elite handling and dynamism on puck, and just being able to dissect defenses like not all that many forwards in Montreal's core can do. And on the flip side, you have Nestory, who just works hard every single zone of the ice, every minute, every shift. And on top of that, he has skill and power forward game that's growing year upon year. I think both of those guys would be really fun additions for the middle 6, but they also might be guys that aren't good enough to go 16, 17, and are too good to fall to 41. So they might be in that awkward middle ground where the Habs miss out.
Yeah.
I think Riker Lee could certainly be at 41.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not impossible. Like, I don't have. The thing is that this year I'm like all aboard on size. I want aggressive players. I would love them to draft this way. Like, maybe not at 16 and 17. That I'm okay. They can go for a upside as much as they want. But in the second round and third round, I would go as aggressive as possible and players like I love player like Ethan Zata. It's not like my favorite player by any mean, but I love the aggressivity. A player like Prokhorov would be great too because he's huge, he's violent, he has a big shot. He's far from the NHL, like far from the NHL. But if he gets there, you have like a real player with size and like the big shot and the physicality. So those are the player that I would love to see the Habs like go and grab. Like, would I like them to go to get like a Alex Wang? I like Alex Wang personally. Does he make the NHL? I'm not even sure he makes the NHL. But obviously, it would be like more in the first round. But like, he's not the type of player that I would like the Habs to target. Like, yes, I love Riker Lee too. I think that the skills are incredible for a guy that might fall into the second round, even like maybe in the 40s. But is he the player that I would like the Habs to grab? For me, no, because like I said, I'm all aboard on size and aggressiveness and like revenge on Washington. And
Yeah. Like, maybe like a middle ground kind of player for the second round that kind of like straddles those two options would be Charlie Trethewey, a guy that I was really heavily considering there in our little like snake draft mock team building exercise. But I think he'd be great for the Habs. He moves so well, and he has a real mean streak to him as well. Like, this is a guy that can play physical. It's definitely a strength in his game. He's an August birthday, young for the draft class, and started the season only being able to handle the puck like a hot potato. And by year's end, he was a pretty stable defensive leaning defenseman. And I think that's also a trajectory where you can kind of paint him adding in a bit more of the puck skills that actually made him stand out in like AAA hockey. And the reason that he even went to the NTDP was for his offense, not for his defense. But the defense is caught up at this stage, so that's something that I think the Habs could look at and be excited about how you can build on that profile over time too.